So you guys know, over the past couple years, I've been to quite a bit of theme parks. Even though this year, I've been to a lot of theme parks. You guys know I've been on my fair share of roller coasters, close to 100. I'm not gonna say the exact number because I don't know. So for this video, I thought I'd bring you guys something a little different. It is another roller coaster video. I'm sorry. I've given y'all like 16 in the last month. I'm sorry. I'm trying to switch it up. I promise. The next videos are gonna be different. I swear. But I wanted to do a different kind of video where instead of me like going to ride the roller coaster and talking about them there, I wanted to sit down and review these roller coasters. So without further ado, my top 25 no, that's too much. Top 10 favorite roller coasters. Let's get it started. Before we get started on that, I want to say that I just got this dope map from Using Cues. It is a theme park scratch off map. It has all the major theme parks in America. Y'all know I already have a lot of the Southeast scratched off, but I'll drop the link to that in the description. And now, let's get to the video. Now, I don't feel like I need to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. These are my top 10 favorite rides. These aren't the top 10 roller coasters I've been on, like, oh yeah, this is the best roller coaster in the world. No, this is like, oh, this one's my favorite. And I've been on all of these rides. I'm not just going like based off the video and stuff and oh, I might like it. No, I've been on all of these roller coasters. So whatever I say is 100% fact. Whatever I say is my opinion. I actually have experienced it. So I'm not just like yanking your chain, all right? Finally, let's go. At number 10, we have Leviathan at Canada's Wonderland at the city right outside Toronto. Which is the greatest city in the world, might I add. Leviathan is this 306 foot tall roller coaster. It is absolutely insane. It is super fast, and yeah, let's just dive into it. So the ride starts and you hit this nice little turnaround, you get a little scenic view. Most of these rides have like a little turnaround or stuff like this. They literally do nothing for the ride. As you turn, you realize that you're literally about to climb a dang skyscraper. You're like, oh, okay, well, this is gonna take a while. It does not take a while. You get up there pretty fast. This is the fastest 300 feet that you've ever climbed in your life. So as you crest the top, you're gonna hear all the locals behind you talking about where's their house at and pointing to their little studio apartments and stuff right outside of Toronto. It happens, but you're going to plunge over this 306 foot drop and oh my, it is a free fall. It is a free fall. You're getting thrown out of your seat. There's this little tunnel at the bottom for no reason that has eyes on it. That's kind of weird. By this time, you're hitting like 90 miles an hour. You're gonna hit this turnaround. Hey, everybody pose for the camera, except for the front seat. Y'all will not be able to tell what's happening right now. You go over one of like 6 pointless airtime hills. As you come over this airtime hill, you can see the whole population of Boise, Idaho trying to get into the park right now. Sorry, Boise, Idaho. Sorry, residents of Boise, Idaho. You're gonna hit this turnaround where you're flying right over the parking lot and you're gonna see all those junkies that are in their hippie van. You know what they're doing down there. Hit a small turn and another airtime hill. I don't know how you've kept this much speed at this. You're gonna hit another turn and you're going to hit the world's tallest brake run I've ever seen in my life. It's taller than like half the roller coasters in the park. If you ever want to feel useless, think about how the brakes on this roller coaster is 30 feet taller than the next roller coaster. All in all, it's a great ride. It's fun. It gives crazy night rides. One of my all-time favorites. I've been on that roller coaster plenty of times. I rode that ride in the front seat in the rain, and it felt like I was getting shot. Like there's no other way to describe it. It felt like little like just bullets and needles were just hitting my face. It felt like people were throwing rocks at us while we were on the ride. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was like on the ground throwing rocks as the trains passed by. So riding stuff in the rain isn't always the best, especially when you're going 95 miles an hour. But let's move on to the next one. Next we have Mako at SeaWorld, arguably one of the best rides in the park, and a lot of people say the best ride in Florida. I don't think so. So you're gonna walk into this station wait because it is 2 seconds because nobody goes to SeaWorld anymore after Blackfish. So you hop aboard, you know, you get in your seat and you put on the clamshell lap. As you sit there with anticipation, you hear this Discount Avengers music playing. And for some reason, the music is just getting louder and louder the entire time. Like, no matter how loud you're gonna be talking to the person next to you, the music's just gonna be getting louder. And you're gonna notice it eventually. You're like, wait a second, this music is getting louder, turn it down. So, you climb this exactly 200 foot hill because the city of Orlando has this weird rule. You fall down the shortest 200-foot drop you've ever felt. It's nothing crazy. You go through this crazy turnaround, which is borderline upside down. If you're sitting in the right seat, you definitely feel like you're upside down, but you're not. And then you go over the 5-second hill. The 5 freaking second hill. And they don't call it the 5-second hill because of the airtime. They call it the 5-second hill because that's how long it's gonna take you to hit the water after you get ejected from your seat. You're gonna hit this nice smooth turnaround. You're gonna say what's up to that mellow mushroom across the street. I've eaten that mellow mushroom before. You're gonna hit airtime hill and you're gonna do the slight jerk in the track. And I have no idea why they did this, and it makes you seem like you're about to run into one of the 50 supports that's right in front of you. Then you're gonna hit the smallest out of these airtime hills, which is probably gonna throw you out of your seat the most because it is just so low to the ground. There's no point. You're gonna hit the brakes. There's no point. As soon as you drop off the brakes, you're going all around. You're freaking bobbing, weaving through all the people, the trees, the seagulls that are flying around, snatching somebody's fries off the ground. And you're gonna get as close to the water as you possibly can without touching it. Because I've definitely reached for that water before and I haven't touched it. As soon as you turn from that area, you're going straight into the brakes. That's it. It's a very short ride. After you conquer this Avengers level threat, you're gonna contemplate getting right back in the line because the line is shorter than the height requirement to ride Shamu Express. What you mean it's not called that anymore? Next, we're heading up to Charlotte, North Carolina to Carowinds for Copperhead Strike. You're gonna buckle up probably in some of the most comfortable seats you've ever been on a roller coaster. As soon as you leave the station, you're gonna go through what's called a JoJo roll. I don't know who the freak Joe is. Probably the crackhead out in the parking lot that helped them design this ride. As soon as you're leaving the station, you just start going upside down, and like I'm sitting there and my whole body just goes. You're gonna do this little smooth turnaround after you hit the crackhead roll, or the JoJo roll. And you're gonna enter this tunnel with all this pre-show and theming and all that, and you can't figure out what's going on, and you're going to hit the most powerful launch you've ever experienced in your life. Oh boy. It does not feel like an actual launch. It feels like somebody is slowly stepping on the accelerator in the car, and you're just like, oh, I'm going faster now. This ride has the most circular loops I've ever seen in my life. Like, you don't realize when you look at a loop on a roller coaster, most of the time they're not a perfect circle. Usually they're an oval or something like that. No, this is a perfect 360. So you're gonna get to the top of the loop and you're gonna notice that you're gonna start to slow down as soon as you get to the top of the loop. So you're sitting there, you're like, yo, you're gonna start rocking the seat and stuff. You're coming out of that loop and you're hitting the nastiest airtime hill I've ever felt in my life. After that, you're hitting a corkscrew, pretty whippy. That's all I can really say about it. Then you're gonna hit a couple like these little curves a little bit. Then you're gonna hit that second launch that I was talking about. Oh, here we go. Then you're gonna hit this weird like airtime hill, and then you go upside down. I don't know, it's so weird, but it was cool. You're hanging up there for a long time, but you're coming out of this little cutback thing, and you're going to hit the wackest turn you've ever felt in your life. Oh, this truck is trying to beat me up right now. Like, it feels like somebody just. Then you go through your second loop. This one you moving a little faster through, so as you're preparing to rocket forward, it's gonna go through a new area. You're like, oh, I didn't have to do anything that time. But as you're coming out of this freaking loop, you're gonna see another one of those dang hills, and you're like, all right, I'm prepared. And as you get to the top, you realize it's gonna yank you to the other side, so you're literally getting a left hook this time. There's no fighting back. You're just letting this thing throw you around at this point. So literally the whole rest of the ride is this ride just flinging you around like a rag doll. Just letting you know how upset it is that you were picking on that first launch. So now you're getting railed by this family. You hit a couple more swooping turns, you hit an airtime hill, and then you hit the brakes and you're done. And you're thinking, I just waited 45 minutes to just get jacked. The next three coasters are the absolute crack babies of roller coasters. These next three roller coasters were built between the years of 1996 and 2000. You already know these Y2K behind roller coasters are about to go crazy. So number 7 is MONTU at Busch Gardens. You're gonna go and you're going to make the most unnecessary U-turn ever. You start gaining speed off of this U-turn because it chooses to dive down into a trench and then turn. Unnecessary, because you're just gonna slow down. You think the ride is about to start, and then you hit the freaking brakes and start going up the lift hill. You know this roller coaster's from Florida because under that U-turn, when this roller coaster first opened, there were crocodiles under there, like real live crocodiles. Like Steve Irwin would have had a field day under this roller coaster. You probably did. You probably put them there. So as you're going up on this ski lift on crack, you're gonna look over and see the preferred parking that costs $17,000 to park there. You're gonna see a bunch of RAV4s, CRVs, and that random Volkswagen Beetle that brought a family of 32. I'm talking to you at Sevilla. You fly through a vertical loop, you know, literally regular loop, an oval loop, not one of those 360 copperhead strike crack loops. Then you probably go through the most hectic, like 15 seconds ever, where you're going through a 0G roll, so you literally lose all the weight in your body. And then you go into probably the craziest like element ever on a ride called a bat wing, where you go up and you turn into a loop and you just dive down. Prepare to have your soul snatched when you go through this element. So after you leave the lowest lane element, you're going into the brake run. And you're gonna hit this turn and you're going into another loop. What ride has 2 loops? I just already reviewed one, but still. All right, we're slowing down finally. This ride is finally slowing down. We're about to hit the brakes. You hit this turnaround right in front of everybody, and then you hit the tightest corkscrew ever. Like, you're getting yanked in this corkscrew. The rules on the thing for the roller coaster literally says keep your head erect. It's for a reason. It's talking about the one on your shoulders. After the corkscrew, you hit a turnaround and you hit the brakes. Then you have no memory of what you just did because you just got knocked out like 4 or 5 different times. For this next ride, we're not even leaving the park. We're going all the way to the back. This is Kumba at Busch Gardens. So this one's pretty much like in the jungle. That's kind of the thing. It translates to like war or something like that in Swahili or Wakandan, I don't know. So you're coming off the hill and you're gonna get a great view of Tampa, aka Black People Orlando. You're gonna come out of the first drop, you're gonna pick up some speed, and you're going up the world's tallest loop ever. It's not literally the tallest loop, but it just feels like you're up there for a long time. And as you're coming out of the loop, you're like, man, you know what, that wasn't even that bad. I don't have to keep my head back. Yes you do. After the loop, you're gonna hit a little turn, you're gonna hit a dive loop, and at this point, your favorite color is gonna be black because that's the only thing you can see in this ride. I'm convinced the people who made this ride were on crack and the people who built it were on PCP. You're gonna hit what is called the Cobra Roll because if you look at it from a certain angle, it looks like a king cobra, which it does. You're gonna hit these corkscrews when what is probably the most photogenic and photographed part of any roller coaster in any park on the world. I swear anybody who's been to this theme park has taken a picture right here. I swear. So you're going through and you're gonna turn and you're gonna get into a tunnel. I don't know why this tunnel is even there, but it's scary. So as you leave the cave, you're in this helix and you're just hugging the ground. That's it. Nick said that he put his hand out and he was literally hitting the plants on the ground. This ride is not safe, but it's great. You finish the helix and then you hit the brakes and that's the ride. You're not getting on this again because your head is pounding because your stupid behind didn't put your head back like the rules told you to. You should have kept your head erect, sir. Next, we're driving back to Orlando to go to SeaWorld Orlando. Yeah, we're talking about KRAKEN, one of the greatest roller coasters ever. I've said that so many times, but KRAKEN is truly amazing. This is a front seat ride. It's not a back seat. The front seat is way better. You might not like it in the back, but I for sure in the front you'll like it. So you're sitting there with your feet dangling, but there is a floor, and so you notice that this ride has the most dramatic reveal ever, and the floor drops and it's like a bunch of Transformers. It sounds like a Michael Bay fight scene right here. You're gonna start going up this lift hill and you're gonna notice how abnormally close your feet are to the track. You're gonna be worried about your feet grazing the rails a little bit because you just realized that you haven't clipped your toenails in 7 years. You're getting off the lift hill and you're gonna hit this little nice like 90-degree turn until you realize that the crack had not worn off when they built this roller coaster because this ride has a straight freaking drop. None of the other rides did, but this one has a straight drop. You're gonna hit this extra tall vertical loop, which actually is one of like the top 10 highest loops in the world or something like that. But you're not losing speed through it. At least the last time I rode it, I did not lose speed through it. And then I realized, okay, this ride is gonna try to beat me the freak up right now. You're gonna hit this dive loop, and then you're diving down. You're getting yanked if you're in the back seat, but like I said, don't ride this in the back seat. You don't like it in the back, remember? Then you're gonna go into another Cobra Roll like Kumba's, but this one is not as tall as Kumba's. So when you hit that turn coming out of that first half loop, you're getting whipped. Keep your head erect like it tells you to. After you come out of the Cobra Roll, you're gonna hit the brakes, which is not gonna slow you down at all, because like I said, this ride was built by crackheads, Swedish crackheads. they're the worst. You can hit this nice little scenic turnaround as you see Journey to Atlantis, which has an hour wait for some reason. I didn't even know there was an hour's worth of people in the park. And you're gonna come out of the cave and you're gonna emerge from the darkness and you're gonna hit the second whippiest corkscrew ever. MONTU still has the first, but this corkscrew whips you so hard. Your concussions are gonna have concussions after you ride this ride. So you're gonna hit the brakes, and that's the end of the ride. One of my favorite rides. For this ride, I would recommend you gotta ride in the front seat and you gotta ride it barefoot. They have little baskets off to the side that you can put your shoes in. I promise you it's worth it just standing in line for 10 minutes holding your shoes. That's like the longest you're gonna wait. It's worth it, I promise. Do not go to the back seat. Go to the front and take off your shoes. Now, my number 4 is gonna surprise a lot of people because it is regarded as the best roller coaster in the world, and I still think it's the best roller coaster in the world. It's just not my favorite. But my number 4 is Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point, aka full body workout the ride, because after you ride this, you will have abs, I promise. I swear to y'all that this roller coaster was put together by the strongest popsicle sticks and toothpicks ever, because this ride is 200 feet tall. So you come out of the station, you're gonna hit this weird little turnaround, and you don't realize that you're gaining speed until you see that there's little hills. And first of all, that's the meanest thing to ever do. If you're riding this in the back seat, you're getting whipped over that drop. You're getting thrown out of your seat. There's no even question, because you're getting whipped out of your seat in the front seat, but in the back seat, you're out of there. They're picking up your remains in the field because you just got thrown. As you get to the bottom of this drop, you're gonna hit this whack airtime hill that's gonna throw you out of your seat just a tad bit, but it's going to prepare you for the monstrosity that is this roller coaster. This roller coaster is like 15 minutes long, it feels like. As you're coming out of it, you're gonna curve a little bit, and then you're going up into what is the most demonic airtime hill I've ever seen. So as you drop, you're gonna hit a freaking airtime hill, and this P90X behind roller coaster decides that it's gonna want to flip you upside down. So that's what it's gonna do. So you hit this like barrel roll kind of thing where you go upside down and you twist, but then after you're like already like back straight, you like keep twisting, so you're getting thrown. Like I said, this ride is demonic. Getting a quick little wave turn, once again more airtime, and then you're gonna hit this whack element. And roller coaster elements have whack names, and this one has one of the wackiest. It's like a downward snake dive or something like that. That sounds like a yoga pose. After you hit the little downward dog dive, you're gonna freaking hit this airtime hill and more airtime, and then you're gonna hit the brakes, and you're like, all right, this ride is finally over. No, CrossFit is still going. We only hit the halfway point. This whole like second half of the ride, I'm not even gonna explain. I'm just gonna let you watch it. But all I can say is that you will not know if you're upside down or not, because it flips you so many times and twists and turns and all that. You're just weaving in and out of like the wooden structure. And then you hit these 6 airtime hills at the end. Whoever, Alan Shoki, he's the man who designed this. I hate you. These 6 airtime hills are powerful for no reason. They're 2 feet off the ground every time. Your thighs and that freaking lap bar are making love. But that's how this ride ends. The ride is literally 2 minutes long, and it's gonna feel like it. You're just screaming for 2 minutes. You're gonna be absolutely shredded. At number 3, we have the tallest ride on this list. It is Fury 325 at Carowinds in Charlotte. We already talked about Copperhead Strike. This is pretty much Leviathan's big brother. Everything that Leviathan did wrong, this one got right. One thing about this ride, while you're riding it, the only 3 words you're gonna be able to process are, oh my God. As you're cresting a hill, you're going over this 325-foot drop, and for some reason at the bottom, there's like this little hitch or something, so you're getting extra airtime. I don't know how that works. Then you're gonna hit this turnaround, and this turnaround has so much airtime, I was not expecting it. And then you're going into a second wave turn that goes the opposite way, and this one is gonna yank your children out of you. Then you're going around into this turnaround element called a treble clef, and for you kids with no rhythm, that's because it looks like a literal music note. If you're riding in the front seat, this thing is like literally dragging the saliva out of your mouth. Like if you have an STI, riding in the front seat is not an option because everybody behind you is gonna have it. This thing is dragging saliva out of your mouth and somehow your nose. At this point, you're more dangerous than an African mosquito. Y'all remember that 5-second airtime hill I was talking about on Mako? Yeah, no, this one is in the end of the ride. So that's how absolutely superior this ride is to anything else. You see, I'm literally wearing the shirt right now. I've never bought a shirt before, a roller coaster before. You get off the 5-minute airtime hill, and then you're gonna hit this turnaround with this giant support. I don't know why, but just one support out of all the supports is just abnormally closer. And for some reason, I had the inclination to reach up and try to touch it. I don't know what the end game was in me touching that, because it probably would have taken my arm off. And you're coming out of that helix and you're gonna hit the last 2 or 3 airtime hills and you're hitting the brakes and you're like, what the heck did I just ride? I just like to say, if you've stuck with me for this whole time, I appreciate you. Please like, comment, share with your friends. I'm really trying to get my videos out there now. Let me know what you want to see, please. Like, I take anything into consideration. If you want me to go jump off a bridge, I'll jump off a bridge. Next is a roller coaster that is very near and dear to my heart. We're talking about Maverick at Cedar Point. This ride isn't like a chain lift hill where it pulls you up slowly. It is launched as you're going up. For this drop, you're gonna hit a nice Ohio summer because this drop is 95 degrees. This is the best first drop I've ever been on in any roller coaster. There's no question. So after the drop, you're gonna hit this right turn. You're like, all right, I see what we're doing. We're chilling. This ride is gonna be fun. And then you hit this left turn and you get thrown out of your seat. You're like, oh my God. And then you're gonna hit another right turn. You're gonna be like, oh my God. You're gonna hit the meanest airtime hill ever because it comes out of nowhere. If you're still conscious by this point, you're gonna enter a tunnel and you're gonna start slowing down. You hit the fins for the launch and you start going. You launch like 70 miles an hour in like 2 seconds. You're gonna hit this turn and you're gonna hit this pointless hill because on the hill there are trims. Do this turnaround through some rock formations and then you do this thing called a stangle dive. And you're gonna turn and you're gonna hit another stangle dive. Demonic. This second stangle dive is coming for your soul. By this point in the ride, you're just getting bent over. So you just let the ride do its thing. You let it take your body. And then you're gonna hit a couple turns and that's it. You're hitting the brakes. And last but not least, we have my absolute favorite roller coaster of all time right now. I just rode it 2 weeks ago. Y'all saw the video. It's not even a surprise. It's VELOCICOASTER at Islands of Adventure. Video's over, that's it, go home. So you start off sitting in this tunnel that's leading into the raptor cage, and this ride has the absolute loudest launch ever. Like, who decided that they just wanted to bass boost this launch? And you just shoot out of the bass boosted launch. You're going up into this weird turnaround kind of thing. I don't know. It's an inversion technically, but you don't even realize you're upside down. It doesn't feel like you're upside down. For the rest of this like first half, you're kind of just going through a bunch of airtime hills. You're getting whipped back and forth. It's really fun, but it's nothing crazy happening after that. This ride is freaking surgical when it comes to airtime. So you're gonna hit this last turn. You're gonna go straight into that second launch. Unlike Maverick's launch, you're getting it. The bass boosting is coming right back on, and it sounds like a freaking car crash is about to happen. As you're cresting the hill, you're waving at everybody that's waiting in that 85-minute line. If it doesn't rain, it is Florida. And then you drop down and you go into the fattest stall. You're posted while you're up there. You are hanging for a long time. So you go through this weird helix thing where there's like airtime. You're like turning in and out of the helix and stuff. It is getting you prepared for the most insane inversion you'll ever feel in your life. This thing felt like somebody tried to rip me out of my seat. Like at this point, your insides are all outside. And you think the ride is finished because like that's like the end of the ride. But no, you're gonna hit another airtime hill and another turn and you're like, what are you going for? Extra credit? As you pull into the station, you're gonna have the stupidest smile on your face because you literally just experienced a perfect roller coaster. That is a 10 out of 10 ride. You can't do anything to that ride to make it any better, and you can hold me on that. I'm taking that to the grave. If you're going to Universal, don't do it. Go to Islands of Adventure and get on VELOCICOASTER. If you're going to Disney, you already know how I feel about Mickey Mouse and them. But yeah, that's this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed filming it. It was actually really fun. Don't take me too serious on the stuff I said, but this was my actual ranking of the top 10 rides. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.